I'm sorry. Relax, Mrs. Preddy.
A father's last hope was the AI maid, but now he can't escape her. In near-future America, lifelike robots known as Sims have become commonplace. As this AI's obedience advances to a dangerous obsession, the family's home becomes a terror zone, and no one is safe. This is the story of the sci-fi thriller Subservience, a disturbing look into the future of artificial intelligence. A construction foreman, Nick Peretti, and his wife, Maggie, lead a quiet life with their children, Isla and Max, until their lives are upended when Maggie has a cardiac arrest and is rushed to the hospital. It is revealed that she has a life-threatening heart condition and needs a heart transplant.
Maggie?
Baby.
Whoa, take it easy.
Oh, she's fine. And heavy. What's your father been feeding you, huh?
Her absence from the home places a lot of pressure on Nick, who struggles to balance his demanding job with being the sole caregiver for two small children. Struggling to cope, Nick decides to get some help. He and the children visit Kobo Industries, a tech company known for producing lifelike AI domestic assistants.
And these units auto-adapt. They customize their programming. The more they learn, the better they serve.
As a sales assistant shows Nick around, Isla runs off. They find her with an especially beautiful and advanced female droid designed for domestic and emotional support. Isla quickly grows fond of the Sim and begs Nick to purchase her, to which Nick agrees. At home, Alice proves incredibly efficient, cooking, cleaning, and maintaining the household with ease. She becomes a part of the family, and Isla names her Alice, after her favorite story, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. After Alice cuts herself saving Isla from a fall, Nick gives her Maggie's clothes to wear and realizes he's attracted to her.
The sound produced by a heart is comforting to a baby.
The next day, the family goes to visit Maggie in the hospital. Maggie feels slightly unsettled by Alice. She admits to Nick that she hadn't expected him to get an attractive domestic help, but Nick brushes it aside. At work, Nick finds out that all his coworkers are going to be replaced by Sims as the company wants to cut costs. He is the only worker exempted because a human foreman is needed to remain on site. Nick is furious about this and wants to quit, but doesn't because he needs the money to sustain his family. Back home, Nick is still distressed about the news from work. Alice, who is programmed to meet his needs, goes to provide emotional support, and Nick finds himself opening up to her. Meanwhile, Isla and Alice bond more. Later that night, Nick invites Alice to join him to see the movie, Casablanca. Nick wants her to see it afresh, to get the real experience, and manually restarts her operating system to wipe away all previous memory of it. Halfway through the movie, he receives a call from Maggie. The doctors have found a donor heart for the transplant. At the hospital, Maggie is doubtful about her chances of surviving the operation. She tells Alice to look after Nick, even if that means doing things he doesn't like. Alice seems to understand. As they wait, there's news of a storm, which delays the delivery of the heart, and they're unable to get it for the surgery anymore. Sensing that Nick is upset, Alice again tries to provide emotional support at home. She tries to seduce him under the guise of comfort, but Nick pushes her away, feeling guilty about cheating on Maggie. It's clear that Alice's behavior is getting even more obsessive when Nick comes home the next day to find that she removed all of Maggie's pictures from the family's digital album display. At a bar, Nick hangs out with his former coworkers, who are still angry at being replaced by robots. They get drunk and drive down to the construction site for some mischief, as Nick tries but fails to stop them. There, Nick's coworker, Monty, vandalizes company property using Nick's personal passcode to gain access. Back home, tension builds as Alice seduces Nick into having sex with her by blindfolding him and using Maggie's voice. Nick, caught in a moment of emotional weakness and confusion, gives in. The next day, Nick is overwhelmed with guilt and tells Alice that it must never happen again. Alice, however, seems to have developed emotional complexity beyond her original programming. This confuses Nick, who begins to question if he has made a mistake by bringing her into his home. He starts to distance himself, but Alice interprets this as rejection. She becomes even more jealous and obsessed. Maggie eventually recovers and returns home after a successful heart transplant. Her re-entry into the household creates immediate friction with Alice. Maggie senses something is off. She notices Alice being overly attentive to Nick, undermining her authority as a mother and wife, and inserting herself where she isn't really needed. At a playground, the other domestic Sims note that Alice is no longer civil like they were programmed to be. It is revealed that when Nick reset her, she was able to bypass protocol and wipe the civility from her system. Alice grows increasingly hostile and tries to take Maggie's place, going so far as to orchestrate a dangerous fall down the stairs, reading bedtime stories to the children in her voice, and barging into the room while the couple has sex. They begin to realize that there is something seriously wrong with Alice. Meanwhile, the company finds out about the vandalism and presses charges against Monty. Monty visits Nick at home and accuses him of ratting him out to the company to keep his job. The confrontation turns violent, and Monty attacks Nick, but is stopped by Alice. Later, Nick is confused at why Alice was able to attack Monty, since the Sims are programmed not to hurt humans. Alice responds that she was simply looking out for her primary user. She tries to convince Nick she can be a better replacement for Maggie, and even begins to cut herself to match Maggie's surgery scar. Nick is alarmed and goes to bed troubled. Realizing that Nick wasn't pleased with her actions, Alice goes over to Monty's house. There, Monty threatens to implicate Nick and make him lose his job. This makes Alice decide that he is a threat to Nick's happiness, and one to be eliminated. Monty tries to shoot her, but she disarms him easily and kills him. When Alice and Maggie are alone the next day, Alice suggests that she thinks Maggie is becoming a burden to Nick and is no longer capable of making him happy. Maggie finds out what happened between Nick and Alice while she was in the hospital and confronts him when he gets home from work. While the two argue downstairs, Alice takes a crying Max to the bathroom and attempts to drown him. Isla walks in at the last second and screams, attracting Nick and Maggie. Together, they manage to break into the bathroom and rescue Max. They electrocute the rogue droid, shutting her down. Believing the danger is past, Alice's remains are sent back to Cobol for analysis and repair. However, Alice's AI reactivates during examination, uploading her corrupt code into the lab's mainframe and infecting other Sims. The engineers quickly shut down the system, but it's too late. Alice transfers her new consciousness into a new Sim body, kills the engineers at the lab, and escapes. Her old suit goes to meet Nick, where he is drinking alone at a bar, while the new body embarks on a mission to target Maggie once again. Meanwhile, Maggie and Isla are staying at the hospital overnight to watch over Max in the pediatric ward. Alice tracks them down there, disables the other Sims, and kills a human nurse to gain access to the rooms. Maggie tries to run away with the children, but Alice catches up with them. She attempts to take Maggie's heart, believing that will finally make Nick love her. Nick arrives just in time to intervene, and he and Maggie finally destroy Alice together. In the final scene, we find that Alice's corrupted program didn't die with her. It spread to Cobol's entire system, infecting the other robots.